Hi everyone, I'm Liv with Professional Equine Grooms. Today I'm going to go over my top to bottom, front to back grooming routine that I do every single day. I'm going to use Miguel. So the very first thing I do is I check his vital signs, his temperature, his pulse, his respiration, his gums, and also his digital pulses. So here we go. I'm just going to use a little bit of water-based jelly to take his temperature. And while that's churning, I'm just going to notice here on his flanks if his respirations are normal, which for him, he's like 8 or 10 breaths per minute resting. Checking out all the equipment. And ta-da, normal temperature. Now I'm going to check his heart rate using this vessel. I'm going to start a timer on my phone for 30 seconds, count how many beats, multiply by 2, and here we go. Yeah. So on my way to checking his digital pulse, I'm going to just do a leg inspection, make sure there's no lumps or bumps or scrapes or scratches or swollen things that I should be aware of. I'm also going to put my hand on the hoof to make sure that the temperature is normal. If he's been standing in the sun, obviously his hooves are going to be a little bit warmer. So use other clues around you besides just what his hoof feels like. Next thing I do, clean and pick out all the hooves. So after I pick feet, then I do all my currycomb action with my grooming gloves. They tend to keep my hands, actually they totally keep my hands a little bit cleaner, and he really likes them. So now that he's all curry combed, I will go back through and spot treat any stains that he's picked up overnight, which is usually quite a bit. I use Easy Out and a dry rag. If it's summer, I will maybe moisten the rag just a little bit, but not get it too wet. And what you do as you're on the hunt for stains is as you come across one, a couple of squirts, you don't have to go too heavy. And then let it sit for a few minutes. Then I'm going to come back and give it a little buffing with the dry cloth. So when I am done curry combing, done stain removing, I'm going to grab my favorite hard brush. This is kind of a medium length bristle. This is natural. I think it's goat hair. I've had it for probably a decade. And it's a great length for his coat, both in the winter and in the summer. I also grabbed a washcloth, clean, dunked it in some hot water from my hot water kettle because it's kind of chilly today. And I use this for 2 reasons. One, I like to get just a smidge of moisture on my brush so that when I sweep here, any kind of little sticky top pieces of dust and dander are going to get picked up. The other reason is when it's really dry outside, this is a nice way to cut the static so nobody gets shocked. So the last thing I'm going to do is work with his tail and his mane. For his tail, I tend to kind of address it every single day so that it doesn't reach the point where it's too dirty or it's too sticky or it's too filled with things. And if you do that, you end up with a tail that's very tangle-free and easy to work with. If you do find you need a little extra sheen product or detangler, I use Magic Sheen. And just a couple of squirts in the tail, or even just squirting it directly on your brush. And then you can easily work through the tail. I like to start at the bottom and work my way up. For the mane, it's just a matter of giving it the swipes. He's retired, he lives outside, so I don't really particularly mind if his mane is more crazy than totally tame to one side. But if it's, you know, do whatever you want. So the last thing I'm going to do is grab another clean washcloth. I've also dunked this one in some hot water, and I'm just going to squeeze it to get all of that distributed. And I'm going to use this to clean the inside of his ears, around his eyes, and inside his nose. Don't forget to use your hands when you're doing this as well, just so you can feel for anything that might be not supposed to be in there. He's also a very messy eater and likes to get a lot of his food on his schnoz. So using a warm rag to kind of gently wipe that off is always helpful. So the last thing that I do when I'm grooming, and you can also make this the first thing that you do, however, it's sometimes easier to do it on a clean horse than a dirty horse, is to take off all your grooming gloves, just use your fingertips and your eyes, and inspect every inch of his body. And with this horse in particular, his ears, I like to stay on top of. He likes to get bugs and insects and scabs and things up in his, you know, Shar-Pei regions of his elbows. And I will come back here and I'm going to put my hand literally up into that nice little warm crevice between his leg and his sheath. I'm going to feel around his sheath, make sure there's nothing unusual going on. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to inspect the underside of his tail with my fingertips to make sure that nothing is new, or if there's something there, if it's changed since the last time. And then we're good.